G'day guys, how you going? Looks like I'm going for a hike in the high mountains. I'm rugged up. It's as cold as a mother-in-law's kiss, as they say. And if you're in Melbourne at the moment, try and keep warm. Hopefully the sun will come up a little bit, or come out a little bit later on this afternoon. We can get a nice day, but Jesus Christ, these mornings are cold at the moment. Look, we all see football differently, and in particular, we all probably see our team differently. I'm talking about Carlton, and I respect that. And this channel is mostly about the way I'm feeling about us. Pre-game, post-game, and I'm here to preview our round 21 clash against Collingwood Football Club at the MCG on Friday night. And I do really appreciate all your comments. So I do encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments section. 90 odd, I think it was 97 comments on my last video. That is massive. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your input into this. And as I said, we see things differently, and all I'm here to do is just to tell you how well I'm thinking. I'm probably most of the time wrong, but we're interesting beasts, us fans. We're not inside the football club. We don't get that access. We make assumptions, and based on what we see once the players cross the white line, and also what we read and what we listen to. That's where I'm at the moment. But I have been thinking about us during the week and looking forward to this preview. I mean, obviously it's a massive game. Scott Pendlebury's 400th game, and what a champion he has been. For the Collingwood Football Club. Just an unbelievable feat to be playing 400 games of AFL football. That's incredible in the modern game. I remember when he started. I remember going to watch Carlton and Collingwood. I think it was in his first year when he played. Him and Dale Thomas were in the same team, same draft as our Mark Murphy. And right from the first time I sort of watched Scott Pendlebury play, I just thought this guy's going to be he's going to be a very, very good footballer. But who would have thought 2024 and he's notching up his 400th game. And that just gives an extra layer, an extra bit of incentive for Collingwood going into this game. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried. I don't have I had a strong feeling about last week's game, and I expressed that, but I don't necessarily have a real strong feeling about this game. What I do know is the last time we played this mob, and given that it is such a big game for them, their season is on the line, and it should be a big game for us as well. I mean, and the 400th game for Scott Pendlebury. And looking back at when we played them, what was it, in round 8, the one thing that stood out for me in that game, and they were down a little bit on troops, and I don't think they were in the greatest of form at that time. It wasn't like we were in top shape ourselves, but we went into that game favourites, and they had a few outs. The thing that stood out for me was their pressure and their system based around that. And if they bring that again, anywhere near that, and they know that stacks up. They know, it's been up and down for them this season. They know that pressure stacks up, and there's no doubt in my mind when Collingwood are on in that space, because they embrace it. They know it works. If they bring that for 4 quarters or somewhere near the 4 quarters, this is going to be a really difficult task for us, a really difficult task. One thing that I think we've struggled with is absorbing that pressure, and we did struggle somewhat in that game, particularly in the second quarter. And we started that game really well, and then they came in that second quarter. And I think the one consistency for us this year, and the big concern, is not necessarily our ability to score, and they talk about scores from turnover, is our ability to really defend, and trying to get a grasp on whether that is sort of system based or whether that is attitude, is really hard. But I think you could probably make a case that it could be both, but more attitude. I think when you are not defending well, I think in the modern game it could be a little bit personnel and system based, but a lot of the time it is an attitude thing. And that worries me. Because for us, that's been, I suppose, the one area that has been a bit of a problem for us for the whole year. And they talk about scores from stoppages, and I think we're ranked number 18 in the competition for conceding goals from stoppages, which is not good enough, for a team that has, I think, aspirations of winning a grand final in 2024. So I've got no idea. What we're going to bring, but what I do know is the club, our club, that is, put out Sam Walsh during the week. I think it may have been, second guys, let's have a sip of coffee. They usually bring a player out weekly, and it was Sam Walsh this time around. I don't remember the last time Sam Walsh spoke pre-game, so I think it was Tuesday that Sam Walsh spoke, and I liked it. It doesn't mean a lot at this stage because talk is cheap, but I like the fact that they wanted Sam Walsh to speak. Obviously, the vice captain of the football club, one of our better players, and just I think maybe some of the rhetoric and talk, and I've been part of that in regards to maybe Sam Walsh not being at his best because of his body. Maybe he's playing under duress at the moment with that back. But putting him out there, talking about this game and what we need to do and how important this game is, I think that may put to bed the fact that Sam is injured, and maybe Sam is just out of form like a lot of our team, and I like that. You would think if maybe they were trying to hide something with Sam Walsh, they wouldn't necessarily let him talk so confidently about the team. And the word that he used, which I like, and as I said, it means nothing until it's actually proven on ground, but he said, "We are pumped. We are pumped for this." And that's the first time I've heard that word used by one of our players or even the coach, that we are pumped for this occasion. Now, didn't say we were pumped for the occasion last week against Port Adelaide. Can't remember the boys saying they were pumped to go over and play GWS, or even pumped to play in Cripper's 200th game, or pumped to play North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium a couple of weeks back. So I like that word, pumped. It's a strong word, and it gives us fans something to measure this group on coming into this game. So when you say you are pumped for something, you've got to show it. And I mean really show it. And I'm not talking about what we've been okay at for most of the year, and even in our poor patch of form over the last month. We've shown in those games that we can score and score quickly when things are going our way. So the second quarter last week against Port Adelaide was outstanding. The first quarter against GWS was good. The third quarter against North Melbourne was good. I can't exactly remember the Bulldogs game, but I'm sure there would have been periods in that game, short periods in that game where we got on top. I'm not talking about being pumped when things are going our way, when we are scoring quickly and we're winning clearances. I want to see us pumped. I want to see us celebrate the defensive actions. Now, that doesn't have to We don't have to see that from a fan base. We don't have to see those celebrations. It's not like, Matt Owies is going to lay a tackle and he's going to jump up and grab his jumper, or Charlie Curnow, if he does, a really strong defensive act, he's going to do the double cobra. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them celebrating the defensive acts, because that's been something which I don't think we've been good at for the whole year. And for me, that has to be a lack of urgency about this group, and where we're going, and that worries me. And something which has bugged me, guys, for a period of time is, and I've been sitting on this, and maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe, you bring these things out when you're going through a bit of a down patch. But I don't know. I feel like this club of ours, and this is why there's always this lack of trust with this group. There were some comments made by our national recruiting manager, Mick Agresta. Now, the list management group of our football club is very, very powerful. It has to be. So you got your layers, you got your coaching staff, you got your strength and conditioning department, then you got your list management group. So headed up by Nick Austin and Mick Agresta, who is our national recruiting manager, spoke twice in interviews, and they're online, so go back and have a look at them. It was on Gettable with Riley Beveridge and Cal Toomey. He spoke before last year's AFL National Draft, and then he spoke again before the mid-season draft this year, which wasn't that long ago. Two things that stuck out for me in that interview with Mick Agresta. And he was asked a question about our list, and it's ready to win grand finals, and right in that window. And that's the context of his responses. So they were the questions posed to him last year, okay, and then again mid-season draft this year. And when he spoke before last year's national draft, that was on the back of us making a prelim final. And when he spoke before the mid-season draft this year, we're travelling really well, and we're top two, and we're cruising. Well, not cruising, but yeah, we're playing exceptionally good football and looking like we are a big player for 2024. Now, Mick Agresta said the first time, we feel like we're just at the beginning of our journey. That's what he said. That's what he said last year before the national draft. We feel like we are just at the beginning of our journey. At the time, I thought, yeah, okay, I don't necessarily agree with that, but maybe there's some context around that. And then he was posed the question again in the mid-season draft, and he said exactly the same response. Go back and have a listen to the interview, guys. He said, we are just at the start of our journey. It's never sat well with me, but I've sort of left it and sat on it. I just get this sense with our football club, there's this real focus on sustainability, which is great. You want to get there and stay there. And maybe that's what he means, but we've been on this journey with this core group for a significant amount of time now. And I know Mick Agresta wasn't around, okay, when the likes of, Cripps was recruited to the football club. Definitely wasn't around when Wiedering and Mackay and Curnow came in, and Silvani, etc. But he's been around a period of time now with Nick Austin. This isn't something which is new. But to say twice that we are just at the start of our journey, when we've been on this journey with this core group for a significant period of time, and this is now a mature group, to say it's just the start of the journey doesn't sit well with me, and I think it shows. I really do think it shows with this group. I really do. I feel like they think that there's just time on this. There's always time on their side, which there's an element of truth of that. We don't get there this year. You roll around and go there, try and get better for next year. But this core group's not going to be here forever in this peak condition. this team's not going to be around forever. So I want to know what this club actually fucking stands for. I really do, because I'm actually getting a little bit sick and tired of seeing this group have the ability to break a game open and play exceptionally exciting football on the back of clearances and stoppages and apply some significant pressure when things are going their way. But as soon as they're asked to defend strongly, and I mean really defend strongly, to me, for the whole year, there's been a real lack of real intent and real urgency. And it goes back to Mick Agresta's comments around we are just at the start of our journey. So is that the message that our players are given, that we are just at the start of this journey? Because if it is, if that's the philosophy, then surely I think these players think that it will come at some stage rather than necessarily making it happen. And there has to be this massive opportunity this year to make it happen. There has to be. There's no excuses for it not to happen. So I've got a problem with that if that's the case. And I'm not necessarily, that's what Michael Voss is saying, but this is one of the most powerful departments at your football club, your list management team, who are saying this is just the start of our journey. And he said it twice. So I want to see, when Sam Walsh says they're pumped for this, and pumped, I don't want to celebrate goals as much as you want. Celebrate them. Carry on like pork chops. Grab your jumper. High five. Whatever you want to do, celebrate it. But that's not what this team should be standing for. This team should be celebrating like Collingwood did in 2023, and why they ended up winning the premiership is because they celebrated the defensive acts, and that was on show against us in round 8. They absolutely murdered us around the ball. They went in with a focus to hunt, and they knew if they hunted us and harassed us, that they would be right in that game with a team, which wasn't at full strength, particularly in the midfield. And they knew if they just kept going and did that consistently for 4 quarters, they would eventually get the chocolates, which they did. And ironically, well, not ironically, I think if I look back and things don't go according to plan this year, I'll look back with 1:15 to go in that last quarter against Collingwood at the MCG in round 8, when we were favourites to win that game. And it's easy to pick out one incident, but you could pick out so many incidents, including goals kicked from stoppages last week against Port Adelaide. I remember one from Darcy Byrne-Jones in that third quarter was absolutely putrid by us. But with 1:15 left to go on the clock against Collingwood in round 8 at the MCG, 85,000 people, scores 79 apiece, game on the line. Go back and have a look at that stoppage. Go and have a look at the players that we had around the ball. Cripps, Chera, Kennedy, they were all there. Okay, all our big players were there. Walsh was there, Cottrell was there, Boyd was there. Go and have a look at the way we set up. Go and have a look at the lack of real intent, real vigour, real want, real determination to get the job done at a critical moment, real grit and urgency. Go have a look at, and this is not being critical of Patrick Cripps, but go and have a look at Scotty Pemberby just keeping him off, keeping him away. Walsh trailing Dacos, losing contact. The fumble by Chera, really poor fumble because of lack of real intent. Cottrell, lack of intent. And then all the space. And Pitnet, just being monstered by Darcy Cameron because he looked slow and tired. And the space afforded to Nick Dacos to kick that goal, that is us in a nutshell. You could do magnificent highlights of us kicking goals and winning clearances out of the middle at certain stages and kicking goals from turnover, which has improved. But I don't reckon you could really have a lot of great highlights of this group in regards to just magnificent defensive acts, including workaround stoppages. I just don't see it. And what we know this week, Collingwood, Scotty Pendlebury's 400th game, they will bring that. They will bring it. At the very least, they will bring that. They will bring the heat. They will be disciplined. They will be dogged. And we know they've got the class and the skill on the outside. You know, they've got the Dacos boys. They'll get Degoe back. He's probably not in peak physical condition. But we need to get back. We need to somehow find a way in that space, because I think this is where the trust lies, guys. It's not the trust that we can get on a roll and play exciting football and engage the crowd. We just know, I don't think we're going to be fooled with this team at all. And I don't think this week, even if we win, is going to fix that. We've got to see it consistently. So we're not necessarily interested in massive run-ons and exhilarating play, because when that does sort of stop, we then go, all of us go, this is not going to last. We're going to concede here. And sure enough, we concede. We always concede. So I want to see whether this fucking group is pumped. I want to see if they're pumped. Because not much use saying it and then going there and not proving it. And not proving it by getting excited when you're scoring, but proving it when things aren't fucking going your way, you know? Not going your way. Being disciplined around defending for one another, and then fucking celebrating it. Because that's what makes a good football team. Or it just feels like it's just all one-way traffic with this group at the moment. And when I hear things like this is just the start of our journey, that's a fucking mindset. That's a mindset. We need to be in a hurry. I don't give a shit, like we need to be in a hurry with this group. Anyway, changes. Got to get Akers back in. So important. The one bloke who does fucking do that hard grinding work is Blake Akers. Well, good to get Harry back. Obviously straightens us up. Potentially Boyd, Marchbank, Cunningham out. Look, I really don't care, to be perfectly honest. I really don't care who comes in, as long as they play a role around defensive actions. That's what I'll be looking at this week. And we know what Collingwood's going to get back. They're going to get some bloody really good players back. Degoe, one of them, McCreary, so I refuse to get sucked into this group unless I start to see it. And that's this week, guys, based around pressure for 4 quarters. And we've shown our hand. We've shown our hand to the opposition. Our inability to, one, absorb it, and then our inability to actually sustain it. And you're not going to sustain it for a whole 4 quarters, but fuck, you can't just do it for 1 quarter or expect, I think it's just the roll on. So, yeah, if it's a crunch game, it's a crunch game. It really is. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by a blistering start. Don't be fooled by a massive comeback. Okay? Let's have a look if this group are actually pumped. And what I mean by pumped is being strong. Up here, in here. Okay, we need to fucking see it. All right? Because it's getting to that stage of the year with this group that we're starting to lose faith. Anyway, I'll be there. Let us know how you are feeling. I don't know. If I'm way off the mark, let me know. But that's the way I'm feeling at the moment about this group. We can win this game. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be bloody tough, based on the fact that we just know Collingwood will be on. They will be on. But we're starting to have doubts about whether this group of ours has the ability to be on. Speak soon.